the next most, what to say, hot topic of the day of the uh, marathon. Uh, like it's almost going
Divya,
to be like a panel discussion, and we have our English department head, Professor Mariam Preeti from Queen Maris College. We are very much honored to have you here, ma'am, in the team. I think we are not able to see you. Your video,
Um,
great, ma'am. Yes, 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 ma'am. Now we are able to see you. And Bhuvakarshini from she is from Vizag presently. She is also joining for this teenager mindset. This teenage is one real period, you know, like everybody comes across, the girls as well as the boys. Now, I think I would just leave the board to a teenager and a well experienced a ma'am who has dealt lots and lots and lots and thousands of teenaging students as well. Now, I would start with a question, Bokarshini. As
Yes.
a teenager, would you prefer the song "Come on, baby, let's go on a bullet on the way, padikalam duet"? That, or ஆசைப்பட்ட எல்லாத்தையும் காசு இருந்தா வாங்கலாம் அம்மாவை வாங்க முடியுமா? Which song you prefer? Give me a very, very, very honest answer, and I leave the floor to Vaibhi.
First of all, a very good afternoon to all of you present here. I'll just give a short introduction about myself. I'm Karshini here. I'm basically born in Chennai, brought up in Bangalore, and currently residing in Vizag. So I'm extremely happy that I've got this chance to talk in such a big public platform, which is going live. And I think this is my first session ever. I've never been to any Zoom place where I've been talking about something. I've always been the participated student. This is the first time I'm like talking in for others, and I'm really happy and proud about that. So, ma'am, coming to your question, if which song I would prefer, honestly speaking, I would prefer the first song because the tune is very catchy, and even though it's meaningless, I think that tune is very catchy. And the second song, maybe the tune is not that, not that catchy, but it has meaning. So it's hard to choose between that. But if you'd ask me personally, I'd take the first song because it's more like a peppy song where I can go dancing on the stage and have fun with my friends and everything. So yeah.
Great, great. And now I just coming to Dr. Mariam Preeta. She is a multifaceted personality, versatile in versatile fields. I'm telling you, she is great in English, and what to say, the poems she writes is something amazing, and she has a great fan following in the college, and a very compassionate person, a heartful person in the college. So she's loved, and she's having a wonderful fan following in the college, and we thought she is the right person to deal this particular topic, teenage mindset. Ma'am, please.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Now we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know which device is. Can you hear me from my phone?
Yeah, yeah. Now you are very much audible, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know whether.
Now audible, ma'am. Raji,
So you can hear me, right?
sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me, right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry about this. Okay. So yes, Thank you for all the nice things that you said about me, Shantipriya. I would like to endorse the last thing, that I'm an approachable teacher and that I have a student connect. Yes, and and that's what brings me to this platform, uh, because I see it as yet another opportunity to fulfill my destiny as a teacher. So, are there any questions for me?
Yes, ma'am. I asked you, like we were in the flow talking about the teenage, and I put forth a question to her, which song she would prefer, which song she liked, and she gave the answer for that, which
Yes,
song she
yes.
would
Okay,
prefer,
good.
and the
That's a
reason
memory
also for
trigger.
choosing.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
memory
yeah,
trigger.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
a bit
yeah,
lost.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. Well, if the song maybe, as she says, she gave the answer. She gave the answer. She says she likes the rhythm, she likes the music, she would like to dance to it, but she wouldn't like those words being, she wouldn't like that transaction between a man and her, right? She wouldn't like that coming across as a message to her. And I'm on the same page as her, maybe 40 years ahead of her, but on the same page.
That's really great to know, ma'am. Okay, so I have a question for all the people participating here, like all the students. Like, what is this teen?
And I just want to add one thing, that if you respect yourself, you will not entertain an invitation like that, of that nature,
Yes,
whoever it comes from.
yes, yes. Okay, so I have this one question for all the students here. Like, if you could just type down your answer or just unmute and talk. What is this teenage? Like, why is the word teenage so overhyped? And they say teenage mindset is this, teenage mindset is that. What is basically this teenage? Come on, guys, give me your answers.
Yeah, you can either give it on chat, or if you would like to unmute and share your thoughts, please go ahead.
Work on the instructions, okay. Is where the changes happen both mentally and physically. Exactly. Yes, okay. So coming to the point, teenage mindset is an unstable and wavering mindset, right? Do we all agree on that? Like, we don't have a standard mindset or mind thought. We keep jumping into conclusions without even knowing what is the truth and what is the reality. Let it be me or any teenager. Isn't that the thing happening, guys?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Um, well, yes, I shouldn't monopolize, but I just want to say, tell you young people, please don't look at yourself too critically that, teenagers are like this and teenagers are like that. Well, all of us have our battle with hormones at any age,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes.
And it's there, it plays in your body, it plays on your mind at any time. And do you think that only teenagers are making mistakes in their lives? A lot of
Ma'am,
adults are making mistakes.
yes, ma'am, definitely. Even the adults make mistake, but I think the more things are on teenagers because we teenagers have less experience than you adults. You guys have seen
Agreed.
what life is, and you guys at least know how to handle the situation. We teenagers might not be exact in handling the situation. Now, you take me for example, I can see all the adults sitting confidently there, and I was here shivering like 5 minutes before unmuting my mic. So that's the difference between a teenager and an adult, is what I feel.
Okay. So maybe I'll just put across the question to all of you. What is experience? Is experience age related, or experience is not proportionate to age?
Well, I think definitely experience is like it's irrational. You can't just say it goes upon with age, because there are many youngsters who are matured enough for their age to handle things. So I think it goes upon what an individual goes through personally. I think that's how one person gains an experience.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Anyone would else would like to add to that?
Yes, I think I'll have to agree with that. In the sense, age is okay. It gives a sense of as you grow older, you definitely get that level of psychological maturity. But that's definitely there. But when it comes to experience, in terms of how you do certain things or how you do your tasks or how you go about with your career, I don't really think age has a strict bearing on that because one of my earlier bosses used to say when a person comes for an interview for with 10 years of experience, he'll ask, is it 10 years of experience or is it 1 year repeated 10 times? So so experience is one thing. What you learn from the experience, how do you reflect on your experience and how do you translate that experience into what you do with your tasks or your life is what really matters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can I add a bit to that?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So I've always had this lovely quotation which I give to people who are traveling, and you have that thing where you can insert your visiting card, right? So we have young people who are friends who get a fellowship to go abroad, and we know that they're going to meet people, right? So anyhow, the quote that I give them is, "You are as good as the people you meet and the books you read. You are as good as the people you meet and the books you read." So this experience is not necessarily in years. It is the experience that comes from reading books, traveling to places, not being a globetrotter. I went to Paris, I went to London, not that kind of thing. Just being in different places, up, down, high, low, north, south, east, west, being in a ghetto, going to a five-star, seven-star hotel, just being in different places. And what is experience? It's your observations. You can be in a certain place and you may not be, mentally there, right? So all the observations that you make in the place that you are, and this is where I see as a teacher the different levels in observation. So if you have 70 students in a class, their the intensity with which they observe and is different, and those who observe more grasp more. So they observe more, they grasp more, they internalize, and what you internalize, what you assimilate becomes your personality.
That's very true, and I agree 100%. You're right, ma'am. Now, here I tell to Karshini, I think you should have to accept whatever Preeti ma'am is
Yeah,
telling. Now, these teenagers are getting more attracted to negativity
correct.
than being positive. Am I right? And
Yeah,
you guys are being influenced by social media as well,
very true.
right?
Yes.
So now what ma'am tells is like by observing you become positive. Now why you guys are not choosing the right side and the positive side? Why you get so easily attracted to negativity?
Let me just add up, start saying that it's not about the positive or negative side. We all have extreme access to social media, let it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anything. So I think that it doesn't just go upon one individual. We have people around us. We have a lot of friends. Every friend has a different character. Every friend has a different personality. So when one person talks to another friend, they'll have this one small conversation on something which, now let me just say, one of my friend is saying, I have a boyfriend and that's super cool. So definitely that is a wrong path to be chosen for teenagers. But being an individual me, I think, oh my God, that's so cool and that's such a swag. she has a boyfriend. Okay, fine. Wow, it's excellent. Even I need one. So that's just an unwanted distraction we get by our friend, where you don't really put in your brains and think whether it's right or wrong. In that instant, we're just triggered by that word or whatever it is. We're just triggered, and that makes us sound cool, and you want to gel up with your friends. It's like you can't stand out from your friends and say, if you oppose them, they'll be like, okay, this girl is like, no, she's not cool. So in order to gel upon with them and fit inside the batch, people tend to get up in the negative side. And coming to social media definitely has a lot of influence on each and every teenager, I can assure this, because they have set certain standards. Now, in case it's a girl, she has to look like this. This is the perfect way she should look upon. So that directly pressurizes one certain individual. Now, you have this one certain type of body. The celebrities, or let me say any people for that matter, they set up this one social standard saying this is how you're supposed to look, this is how you're supposed to do things, so that one particular teenager who's already in a wavering mindset will get will think that is completely true, and they'll start working upon that, go starving for days, not having food, wanting to lose weight and everything. So I'd say all of these are negative factors, and getting attracted to negative factors is like a personal individual's choice. If you're mature enough to think upon which is right and wrong, I think that'll do, right?
Okay, I want to stir up the pot a little bit and probably solicit Dr. Maria's thoughts on this. I don't think this problem is endemic only to teenagers. I think all age groups are heavily influenced by the kind of words, the kind of messaging, the kind of visuals that we are being exposed to. And we are living in a world of both information and cognitive overload. And at that time, I think a lot of this gets in and sort of messes up with our head, and we tend to take a lot of rash and not very well thought of decisions. And I think what is really important here is to have your set of principles and to have your values well defined, and reflect on whatever messaging that you get with your values, see how it aligns with your values and your personal principles, and then take that forward in your life. And I think that will create a sense of equilibrium in people when they approach to the things that we are being exposed to today.
Yeah. So I, the takeaway from me, for me, from what you said is principles, values. And Karshika, you mentioned having a boyfriend or not having a boyfriend. Well, that comes, you mentioned having a boyfriend and how that could be a distraction. Well, I do agree, but we are also talking about boundaries, okay? And boundaries, principles. I have had students who had boyfriends, okay? My own Queen Mary's College students. And like both the boy and the girl was battling poverty. They remained good friends and they married 10 years down the line. Okay. And right through their friendship, there were times when they were exploring. They were asking, is this love? Is this permanent? Is this meant to be? So the key word here is relationship. And what do we mean by relationship? That word is probably the most abused word now, because the word relationship even might get reduced to a one night stand, right?
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So we as teenagers, as young people who want to do well in life, who want to fulfill our whatever purpose God has created us for, we have to be very careful. Uh, having meeting a person who will be your life partner is not a wrong thing. Okay, and if you come from a background where boundaries are set, and where your parents would tell you that you cannot make your own choice, all these things, probably it is your personal decision. I don't want to go into that. But if you look at principles involved in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Principles uh, would first begin with your self respect. You love yourself. Okay, you don't throw yourself into someone's arms or someone's life because you have a deep sense of insecurity,
Very true.
right? So you being having a strong sense of self, being
Very.
very secure, being very strong under your skin. So the mistakes that we make in relationships is we uh, we we're all vulnerable. We get attracted to people, but you should always and as far as possible operate from a position of strength. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so someone might win your heart, someone might may appeal to you, but you are nobody's slave. You are nobody's slave,
Very.
and you are not going to oblige anybody because that person is begging you, or you're not going to do something because someone's hot. That's a word I detest so much. And that someone's so hot and you can't help going after that person. So it all boils down to your principles, your strong sense of self, your self respect, your love for yourself. And then you also mentioned about um, the physiognomy, your appearance, your about how cinema stars set a certain standard, and you think you need to. So in our country, skin color, skin tone, and then also the body weight. These are big issues on which our acceptance hinges on that. You know, so if we can be confident about ourselves, I'm overweight, so what? I don't have this type of appearance, so what? So if you can develop that so what attitude, I don't need to be like you. I am me, right?
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
yes, in my school days, I had a schoolmate whose appearance didn't at all fit the prescriptions of good looks. I don't even want to mention what it is, right? Because I would be saying this is this is good or that is bad indirectly. She just didn't fit the idea of good looks that are given in our society. All right. So whatever good looks, point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she was the antonym of all that. But
Okay.
she was winning all the the declamation contests. She was always a winner. She was always a winner, and behind her were her parents. Her parents gave her so much confidence that she had that so what? She had that so what attitude. If you don't accept me for who I am, I don't care. I am what I am. Right? So this idea of conforming, um, being, having the kind of hairstyle or dress or that everybody has, or just to fit in, comes from a sense of self that is weak. So right, so actually, pushing your parents to buy you things that they can't afford to buy you, right? If
Just
everybody's,
to
yeah,
a
yeah,
minute.
just because that is the fashionable thing. So you've got to be, be willing to wear whatever. That's
Just
how I grew up. I didn't
yes,
grow up with the best of clothes. All
yes.
right. I do remember a classmate of mine making a remark about my appearance, but I didn't take it seriously because my family gave me that sense of confidence. They said, "Who is she to say anything about your dress or about how you look?
Very
This
true.
is good enough. You're good. You're good as you are." And by the way, a small thing, I started wearing spectacles when in class 6,
Okay.
you know, Okay, that was at that age. And I do remember the first day to school with the spectacles and how other children teased me. And I came back home and my parents said, "Who are they? You look great with your spectacles. In fact, you wouldn't look as good without your spectacles." So that has gone so deeply into my mind and given me this confidence that I didn't even want to go in for a contact lens, somewhere down the line. So I'm not giving any prescription of what you should have and what you should not have, what you should wear. Those who want to go in for contact lens are most welcome to do so. But it's just the confidence. I'm just trying to tell you about the confidence that my parents gave me.
I just like to start up with that point where you said your parents motivated you, like just said, who are they? Why should I care? So now coming to that point, as I've already said that this age, you're not in that mindset to accept what's, like you most of them won't have that okay, what's so attitude because more than what parents see, I think the friends have more influence on one person's life because you see from morning till evening one particular student spends a lot of time there and coming back from home some working parents spend very less time with their daughters or sons it's like not every child gets that motivation at house. You said that feeling confident, so feeling confident comes up in within, ma'am. That's what I feel. Now if I go out with whatever dress I want and someone comments, I am mature enough to say okay, come on, that's I like it, I'm wearing it. But there are many people out there who are not confident with their own self. They find it hard to accept themselves in the first place. Now as I said, celebrities have made these standards where you need to have clear skin, you need to have this shape of body. Teenagers tend to get more attracted towards those points, and they think that is reality. When more parents are not even comfortable to talk to their kids about this. Like now I just had, like, for example, I had this one friend who was very insecure about how she looks, about her body weight, and she used to come and tell me, "Arey, I'm not beautiful enough," like she used to feel so dejected. And she told once, when she told her mom, she told that her mom just said that, okay, okay, that's how you look, you can't do anything. She just said that instead of making her feel better. So I think it's very important for parents to start off telling that you're beautiful in whatever way you are. And I feel that many teenagers are not in the position of accepting what parents are telling them. They're in that mindset where they think, okay, I'm correct, what should my parents tell me? I know everything, I know the outside world. That's what they think. And I think that's not that deniable because I am a teenager. I have my own friends saying that my parents says this, she asks me not to drink, who is she to tell me not to drink? My body, I will drink. So I think that mindset should first be changed in a person. That's an individual, let it be an adult or a teenager. I think that all goes upon an individual.
Do I have a, can I interrupt here, ma'am? Yeah, because like it's going on very well. I know a girl, as you rightly told, her parents, in the good interest of her, they put her in a hostel. They put her in a hostel only to uplift and develop her career. This girl, for the first time, leaving the luxuries of the house and going and getting admitted in hostel, she was, after her parents shouting and like behaving hysterically, did all sorts of things like, why you're doing, you're not bothered about me, you're not caring, you just want to drive away somewhere, all this natak this girl was doing. And finally, what happened was the parents, without a choice, they have to again relocate her and do it. And now this girl, she is feeling very bad about this decision. Now, why this has happened, Dr. Preeti? Why this? Why? What made that girl behave in that, to that extreme and to this extreme? And now each and every day she says, "I am not I should have stayed in the hostel because she was talking, no, Bokarshni were talking too much. That is the reason now I'm interpreting. Now, could you please tell me, Dr. Preeti?
Yeah, I just missed one or two lines because my connection was poor. So what happened to the girl? She was in hostel and she,
Yeah, she was against her parents because she felt that they were not doing good to her. They were not feeling about giving importance to her emotions or whatsoever it may be. But at the end of the day, now she has realized everything was for her good. And now she is telling every day, I should have stayed back in the hostel. I missed that life. Now, why this mindset, this extreme mindset? How do you see this,
how many years
Dr.
is it?
Preeti?
How many years is it? How many years is it between this decision and that?
Hardly days or months, frankly speaking.
Okay, okay.
Days or
Okay,
months,
so
she realized.
she realized. But it's a good thing, isn't it, that she realized?
Yes, it's a very good thing.
It's a
It's a
good thing,
very
yes.
good thing she realized, but almost everyone is like this. That is what I'm
So there
asking.
came,
Why?
yeah,
What?
there's a point which came up, but parents don't listen. There's something in the chat which says parents don't listen. Yes, but still some parents are not listening wholly to their children's desire. They think how society sees. Okay, so parents are conditioned by society. Parents don't listen to children. Um, See, there's no quick fix to this. Okay, and there's no one solution. But teenage is characterized by conflict between parents and children, which we call the generation gap. The way parents see something and the way children see something, there's a difference in that. And I fully agree with the students who say parents want to fulfill expectations of society, right? And that's where the pressure to perform comes. So if you can't sing and your parents says you must sing, I mean that is unfair, absolutely unfair. But if there's something that you can do and you're not doing it because of laziness, because of not being willing to work hard, if you have an aptitude for maths and you're not doing your part, and if you have an aptitude for English and you don't have an aptitude for math, and your parent tells you that you have to do math or you have to do engineering, then I think that is unfair. So there are times when you need to stand up for yourself, because parents can be bullies, and you can very clearly say, I'm not studying this course, I don't have an aptitude for it. That is, if you are very, very clear that you have an aptitude for something and you're being pushed into something because of the peer pressure that the parent has, you know, uh, everyone in the family is doing medicine. Am I online? Yes, can you
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
me?
Yes, yes, very much, ma'am.
Sure.
Yeah. So there are children who don't want to study medicine and they are pushed into doing medicine, right? So I'm in full agreement with the fact that parents also have peer pressure.
Yeah.
And well, you need to, but one thing I need to say in this case is, well, the conflict is there, but you need to be very focused and you need to show your strengths. You need to, you have to make that connection with your parents. Parents have to make, say, it takes two hands to clap, right? So it's, it's both from the parent side as well as from the side of the children that this kind of cooperation and connection takes place. And I hope and pray to God that all of you get, that kind of support from family. And uh, and even if they are not able to see your point, I hope they do. I'll give you an example. um, a cousin of mine, a relation of mine, um, he is a full-time musician, but his father was a very highly placed official. All all right? And he wanted his son to do, civil services, or he wanted him to join the armed forces, clear the NDA exam or whatever. And it took a while for the father to accept that his son is a musician, but his son excelled in music. His son is very much wanted in the advertising uh, field. He's much wanted in film. He's much wanted, but he worked at his music and he has proved himself, right? So if you do not even conform to your parents' expectations, it doesn't mean you go out on drugs and drinks because your parents didn't understand you. I know of so many people who have not carried out their parents' wishes, but who have done well, who have told their parents, see, we have parents would say, we have this nursing home and you have to become a doctor, and everybody in the family has done medicine, and then the child says, I have no feel for the subject, I'm not inclined at all, I would prefer to be a school teacher. And then because I love to work among children, and then the parents says, no, this is not in keeping with our family tradition. Or the student may say, I want to become a professor, I want to be an architect, all right, I want to be a filmmaker, whatever. But if you have your chosen path and you excel in that, you're going to prove people wrong, right? So when your parent doesn't understand you, please don't take the escape route, and don't play the blame game. Don't play the blame game. Blaming them, you have to prove who you are. You have to prove your mettle.
Yes, ma'am. I might want to interrupt in between. Like you said, we should not take what parents say, personally, or, it's all for our motivation. Everything's good, but, sometimes parents end up comparing their own children with other children. Like they say, like, okay, now out of 100, you've got 90, and look at that girl, she's got 98, 99. Why didn't you get 98, 99? So I think in one way, that actually mentally pressurizes that particular child, because, she would have put her entire soul and everything, she would have worked really hard. And that's what she has done. Instead of saying, you can do better next time, or, they should actually motivate us, and they'll be like comparing, at least even if they're not motivating us, I think they can say something less comparing to others. When they start comparing one child with another child, instantly there's a trigger shooten into that particular individual saying, okay, so my mom is comparing me with that girl. Why is it so? Yeah, maybe I don't know if it's the right word to use, but I think one person's ego gets triggered there. And instead of, I think more students, instead of working harder for the next time, they get offended by what their parents says. That goes on really personal, which I think, parents can find a better way to, motivate the children than comparing. Because I had this one friend whose mother said, at least if I compare you with that child, you will get a bit of brains and study more. At least you'll get that fire inside you. And I think it's definitely a big no for that, because definitely a student won't feel happy when you're comparing her marks, or let it be anything for that. With that girl, she says like, oh, look at that girl, she's so thin, look at you, you're so fat. And I think this comparison should be completely broken down. I just like to hear if that's a point.
Yeah, I in full agreement. I invite the other panelists also to give their views, sir, and then maybe I'll pitch in.
What do you feel, Vaidi? Is she
Uh,
pessimistic or optimistic?
See, I always feel that when I think these are crucial conversations that parents have with their children, and my opinion is you'll have to be outright in what you feel about things rather than going on this comparison game. You spell out what your expectations are and try to spend some time understanding what their expectations are from a conversation, because when we are talking about a conversation, it's a dialogue. So you, as much as you want to express what you have in mind, you should also be receptive to what the other person has in mind, because it's only I mean, the amount, I mean, how much ever you are receptive to the other person, that is the same level of reception that the other person is going to have to your message. If you go into that conversation with your children with an open mind and be prepared to really take in and ruminate on what they have to say, I think the conversation will be, and I think that will be returned by the children, and I think that conversation will be much more meaningful. And when you involve in a conversation like that, your choice of words, your choice of phrases and expressions itself will be much different.
Yes. And coming to this comparing thing, like it's mostly where the parents compare the children with other children, but definitely that can't happen vice versa. Like the children can't go comparing the parents with others' parents, or they'll just directly say a word, "Get out of the house! You're comparing me with others." Directly. So I think, both are the same feeling. That's the same way a teenager or any person for that matter will feel, when you compare. I think that should
See,
that.
I have personally been fortunate because after I completed my class 12, my parents said, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel passionate about, you go and study. And I told them point blank, I can't do mathematics. I'm completely off with that. I love science. And they said, okay, you want to do science, you go study science. And I told them I can't do engineering because that has math in it. They said, okay, don't have to do engineering. And I completed my class 12 in 2002, 2003, where it was all about engineering. That was a time when everything was about engineering, and if you don't do engineering, you're like completely looked upon by the entire society. My parents were like, if you can't do engineering, there's no point in doing engineering. I mean, you're going to keep arrears and you're going to suffer, and we are going to suffer. Let's not do that. But whatever you choose, you better do it well. That was the only thing that came from my parents when I got into arts and science. I didn't do engineering, and today I think I'm doing pretty okay with whatever decisions I've taken, and I completely owe it. And down the line, when you reflect on those conversations that you've had, I'm so thankful for my parents for the kind of conversation and the level of maturity that they showed in respecting my decision and sort of being there just to be as a guide, just to direct me whenever is required, and then give me that kind of space to move around and explore things that I like, and really understand and identify what I would like to do and succeed in that.
I
That
think
is great to know.
something like.
Karshini, if I was hearing you right and I've been listening to, sir, your name, sir?
Vaidishwaran.
I'm Vaidishwaran.
Vaideshwaran, yes. So, Mr. Vaideshwaran, the key word in what he was sharing was conversation. So, conversation as opposed to argument. All right. So, what do we have in the home is we should have a conversation. We may be from different ends of the spectrum, but there has to be a meeting point, there has to be give and take. And if you demonstrate from your end that you are willing for a conversation, you're capable of a conversation, okay? So, and conversation requires being polite, right?
Yes,
Trying to see the other person's point of view,
yes,
being cooperative, right? So, if there are certain signals that you show from your end as a teenager, I'm sure the signals from that end would also come. I hope I'm right in that. But I
uh,
do feel that we need not build walls and we should build bridges. So do not take, say, these are all the disadvantages I have as a teenager. All right. And if you look at it from the parents' perspective, they will say, these are all the disadvantages I have having a teenager on my hand.
yeah.
So somewhere we need to walk across that bridge,
Ma'am,
right?
coming to the point of breaking the wall with parents, for that I think teenagers, they don't open up very easily. So I think a parent should make that child comfortable rather than them building the wall, because it's not like us, we don't build up the wall between ourselves and parents. If the parents, every small thing stays back in one child's heart, I'd say, because I for example, someone just goes out with her friends, and later she comes to her mom and she'll share everything later, everything is shared, they're talking like friends, and suddenly there's this one conversation between a mom and a daughter, and suddenly the mom comes out saying, I know even you're like that, you're not that innocent. She'll just go on saying, okay, fine. So I think it's the barrier between a child and a parent is them not being free with the child. If they are free enough, I'm very sure that the child will come and share everything with the parents. Now I'll take myself for example. I literally tell everything to my mother. She knows everything what happens, let it be my school, college, any matter for that thing. She knows like literally everything. But sometimes, when we have this one small quarrel at house, there's sometimes she'll say, okay, even you're their friends, who knows, even you would be like that. I think, when I'm coming out of that stage and sharing things with my mom, isn't it not right to point out you? Because if I was like that, why would I come and share it with her? I'm sharing it with her saying, okay, she's my best friend. She's my first best friend ever in life. So when I'm sharing everything, I think that not just me for that point, there are many people who do that. So that wall is actually built by the parent themselves. So the more strict the parent gets, the more lesser and lesser points will be shared by that child to the parent, is what I feel.
So, Kashika, I'll tell you one thing. See, here in this, we see two things. One is parent as friend, parent as authority. And this is something I'm sure, Mr. Vaidishwaran and Shanti will also agree with me. It's not just in the home, it's in the workplace also. The boss is sometimes friend, the boss is sometimes authority. So you need to navigate that. This is how it works even in the world. So when somebody wants to get something done through you, they give you a pat on the back, they're very sweet to you, boss's friend. But then sometimes when boss doesn't see things getting done as friend, he uses authority. So this is something you're going to face in life where this person would keep changing face either as friend or authority.
Ma'am, coming to the authority and friendly part, I think like you should be. It's very important for them to have authority on a child saying which is good and bad. But that is not my point on them navigating us to do which is good or bad. All I'm saying is, if they're friendly, we'd be open enough to say everything, like irrespective of any topic. Because I believe
Correct.
I personally believe in the concept that friends won't come and help you in any point of life, like any major thing. It's always the parents. It's always the parents and family which helps you. So I think that barrier should not be between a child and a parent, because the more freely they're talking, I think the more better it is. So they not have to run to friends, and again the friend, maybe that friend won't help out. They won't turn out to be how they look, and the many factors. So that exactly is my point, that it's not about them being authoritizing on us. It's like, they just have to be friendly, and they should be open to listen on what we got to talk, rather than just shooting questions on us, say,
I,
you know
yeah, I would like to add a small point over here. I think rather than using the word friendly, because parents can't be friends. That's my strong. I mean, a parent is a parent, a friend is a friend. So I think the right word that we need to use here is being is that sense of acceptance rather than being a friend, being a person who accepts you for who you are and what messaging and where you are coming from, trying to get that understanding and then process that and then have that conversation. Again, going back to the word conversation, is and this happens both sides. I mean, even from the teenagers' mindset, they'll have to understand that their parents, where their parents are coming from, and accept them for who they are and what they've done. And one thing that we need to remember is that both the teenagers and the parents are actually moving towards the common goal. The goals are common. It's just a matter of how we want to approach the direction for that goal. So once we have that acceptance that we are working as a team towards a common goal, and once we have that level of maturity and start having those conversations, I think the outcomes will be much more tangible and fruitful.
Here I would like to comment. Bukarshini, your comparison, authority, barrier, all these things. Here I would like to support Dr. Preeti's view. A parent would be friendly, a parent would use authority. With what intention they are doing is the question here. Being friendly, when they need to be friendly with the child, they are friendly. When they are using authority, with why they are using the authority? With what intention? In the benefits of the child, isn't it?
Obviously, to get us right and get us wrong in the paths.
Is
Yeah.
it not? Is it not?
Yes.
So here I would also like to tell you, parents have more experience because they even have come across the teenage, and you're forgetting it. They even have come across the teenage life, for your information, and they know what is good and what is bad. So here I would like to completely support Dr. Preeti's statement. So when they are friends, be friends, open up. When they use authority, as Vaidi said, accept that this is being done for my own good, for my own well-being. As I pointed out about the girl, that hostel incident, and Dr. Preeti rightly asked me, when was the realization? How fast was the realization? So this shows that they are not fit enough to take right decisions as a teenager, right? Quick
Yeah.
decisions are not going to help in any way. Hasty decisions are not going to help anyway in the long run. And I think we are running out of time. Vaidi, it was really wonderful. Uh, uh, and many, now I'm asking you a direct question. She gave a lot of insights, Dr. Preeti. As a teenager, what are the takeaways you're taking from her? Today, now in this whole conversation, what are the takeaways? She was very blunt and she really, like expressed almost the real experiences what she had in the college.
I'd just like to say it with one line that she said, accept yourself. The more you accept yourself, the world will start accepting you too. I think that's a major takeaway I've had.
Great. Now, what you do is this takeaway you would be sharing, right? Apply. Now you have taken some wisdom. You have acquired some wisdom. You have acquired some learning. Start applying in your day-to-day life. Then definitely, is it not, Dr. Preeti?
Yes,
Then
being strong on the inside matters a lot.
success would be hers. Success would be yours.
Thank you very
Uh,
much.
it was really, I done Dr. Preeti first time, like I'm getting to know your speech. I've heard a lot about you, the way you handle, the way you give speeches, and the rapport you have with the students. It really was, like from the heart you have spoken, from the heart, direct to the heart to heart. This panel discussion was heart to heart and thinking from everyone's shoes, empathizing with everyone. Don't you think so, Vaidi? Like it was, and she gave all bold examples. Bold examples. This is what happened. This is what is the scenario. This is the pros and this is the cons. So that was really great. I request Vaidi to express your views now.
Absolutely. I think this has been a wonderful conversation, both from Dr. Maria and Miss Kashini. I think you've been very, very vocal and very, very clear about your thoughts, and I think this has been a very good exchange of ideas. And I'm sure people who have, I'm seeing a lot of interaction happening in the chat and also on YouTube on the various points that we've just discussed. And I think this is a conversation, this kind of conversations is what needs to happen in reality. So I am sincerely hoping that people who have attended today's session take this back to their respective lives and have those conversations, with their parents, and as parents with their children, so that a more meaningful relationship can be established and a more positive relationship can be established, so that we have better outcomes and a better future for all of us.
And I would like, Maria ma'am, what would be your advice to the teenagers?
I was just hoping I could have one word, last one line. I wanted to request you. Thank you for giving me that. The one last line I want to say in this is keep the door of communication open. Let's have conversations, not arguments. We can have arguments. We may disagree with our parents, with our peers, with everybody, but go back and let's talk. Let's talk about it. Or let's avoid this conversation and talk something else. But don't close the door. And that when you close the door, that's when we have that downslide taking place. That's when we lose the parents lose children and children lose parents.
That
Okay.
is a great advice.
So keep,
Great advice.
keep the conversation going. Keep the conversation going. Don't ever close the door on anyone. Okay. In a relationship. In a relationship. Husband, wife, lovers, partners, friends, colleagues, go back. And that's one thing I've done in my life. You know, today I may have a difference of opinion with my colleague, but the next day when I enter the department, I say, "Hi, you're looking great." So that's just to open the door that we closed yesterday, right? So I wish you a life of open doors and great communication and conversation.
That was great. Thank you so much to have you on the board. We are honored and privileged. And thank you, Bokarshni, for expressing your views.
Thank
And I think definitely the students, whoever was viewing this, would be having a clear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice. That
Thanks a
was.
lot. Thanks a lot for your time this afternoon, for being part of Acharya 2022. And please continue to enlighten people as always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone, for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to take
And
place.
so young, yeah, I love all of you because though I can't see you, and through Shanti, I would like to make myself available to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sure,
you
ma'am.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I pass it over to ID.
Sure. Thanks a lot for this. I think we had a wonderful session right now. And